Hey everybody, welcome to Inside the Community, the show dedicated to give you an inside look on the issues revolved around competitive gaming. And today I have Triforce. How's it going,
Hey,
Tri?
Kumar. What's going on?
Yeah, not
Uh,
much.
it was one crazy night last night.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, unfortunately, I couldn't be there to see any of it or hear it for that matter. But let's discuss what happened last night, and we're gonna discuss it in a well-mannered way, so you can get your point across professionally. Now, I want to first talk about hidden agendas. Such
Okay.
as the VXG slander, saying that you are solely responsible for a quote unquote failure of VXG. Do you have anything to say to that regard?
Well, the entire VXG slander, that whole topic was because the event was being put under a microscope purposely for its rivals in the scene in the U.S. For those that it applies to. They felt that VXG was bringing something to the table that could jeopardize the establishment that they had, that everyone knows. Okay, this is the way the fighting game community is, and they wanted to keep it that way. VXG is doing something that no other fighting game tournament in the United States is doing, with the exception of CEO and to a degree Evo. And I only bring up Evo because I'm talking about Evo 2012. I'm not even talking about Evo 2013. VXG has a backer, and it's funny because last night we were looking at the prime minister giving a speech. The prime minister of the Netherlands came down to VXG. I actually wasn't there when it happened. I came there. Wait, let me double check. It's the prime minister of the Saint Martin, right? Okay, I'm sorry. The prime minister of Saint Martin actually was at VXG on Friday, and she gave a speech about how they support technology, new media, entertainment, and video games, and they want to create a new market where that can help enhance tourism, which benefits the island. So their government fully backs what VXG is about, which is funny because everyone was talking about how VXG failed, and it was Friday afternoon, and they were talking about VXG failed Friday afternoon. People sent in emails to the casino on the island, the largest casino on the island, telling them that they may face repercussions for streaming Capcom games, which completely like hurt VXG because that was for the players. The players stand to make $15,000. VXG wouldn't have made anything from it. They just wanted the players to be able to come and enjoy a casino by doing legal money matches, which they then had to stop. But the good news is VXG is working on still fulfilling that commitment to the players. They're in talks with the right people right now, and they're trying to see if they can do a casino royale at the end of the year, and it will be a standalone event. But the point is that they tried to sabotage it. There were threads made on various websites where they said VXG was a failure, XYZ, this, that, and the other, and all this other stuff to just slander, the event. I have never seen a video game tournament under so much scrutiny, under a huge microscope before the event, during the event. Now, after, yeah, everyone has a complaint after. I've seen that before. But before and during, never. So for me, I saw this as a huge, okay, I see this as a slander a campaign. Why are they trying to off, a new challenger into the scene, so to speak? Since we're talking about fighting games, a new challenger stepped into the scene, and they're not even trying to give that new challenger a chance to show what they they can make.
Yeah,
See,
it seemed kind of like a witch hunt, you may say,
y- y-
unfortunately.
yes, pretty much. It looked like a witch hunt, and I was kind of upset because there was nothing really I could do about it because VXG hired me. My job originally in VXG was supposed to be to market and promote the awareness of St. Martin and the Video X Games tournament to the Northeast region of the United States of America. That was my job. to help in marketing and promotions. That's why anyone who saw me at East Coast Throwdown or any qualifier for VXG, you saw me helping out Rolando, giving out the T-shirts to the people that qualify and stuff like that. That was it. My involvement doesn't go any further than that. I was not sitting there running the tournament. I was not the tournament director for VXG. The tournament director was Chris Gallion from Godlike Entertainment. The stream director was Bifu Teki from Bifu Teki. And Rolando's job was to make sure he handled all of the tourism accommodations and what they call this the and hospitality. There it is. That's what his job was. And from what he did an excellent job. If I was to give him a rating, I would give it like a 95 plus. There were obviously you cannot help every single person on the planet, but for everyone that was there for the most parts, not a single person had to buy their own drink for 3 days. Actually, in 4 days since Wednesday, 5 days. What are you talking about, Triforce? For 5 days, no one spent a single dollar on drinks. Drinks were completely on the island,
Wow.
literally. And everyone were every night I passed by the pool, they were out playing pool volleyball every night. They were on the beach in the morning. Filipino champ went out one night and partied so hard he just didn't care about. I think it was Street Fighter, and he got DQ'd from it. He didn't really care, but which was that was the point for that was Rolando's job, that people were actually coming out there to enjoy the island and they use video games as the draw. Now, if you plan it properly, you can enjoy both the island and compete in the video games, and you get the double whammy, which is something no other tournament in the world provides.
Wow.
So, to me, seeing all of this slander come out of nowhere, and this slander was being made by people who were not even at the event, which that part didn't even make any sense. Like, how are you making claims of X, Y, and Z when you're not even at the event? And for me, I just thought that, like, it was bad that they did that, but then they felt sympathy for Orlando, and then they decided to find a way to blame me when my job was just to promote, market, and advertise the brand in the Northeast region of the United States. And Jason LeBoy uh, admitted in in a statement on Twitter that he pretty much was the one who started it on Event Hubs, and he got upset because he got caught, and he was like, he only did it because he heard the trash I've been talking about him, which just stupid. But because I actually don't talk about Jason. I used to talk about him back in East Coast Throwdown when there was an issue between me, him, Orlando, and Dominion, and we aired that out, and it was taken care of at East Coast Throwdown right there. He's coming telling me Rolando said some things. I went to Rolando. I said, Jason said you said some things. Then we pulled Jason out and say, yo, listen, you said X, Y, and Z. We found it's not true. You're done. Done. That's it. That was the end of the situation. He, I guess, took that to heart, and he continued with that, and he did that. So on Event Hubs, there's a thread which just completely, like, you know there was it reported the findings of VXG, which was not negative, but on Event Hubs and SRK you have the chat boxes where people can leave their opinions,
Right.
and all that is just, it's like a free soapbox where everyone can just say what they want to say, and they went in, and oh, Triforce is to blame. He's the reason why VXG failed. When VXG did not fail, VXG was a resounding success. On Sunday night, they had already approved for VXG 2014. In fact, it's funny. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay.
Friday, the Prime Minister had already approved for VXG 2014. She said that we will continue to support this event for years to come. So VXG 2014 was already set on Friday. So,
That's no, I'm just saying that's great news, but it seemed like to me there was two levels of animosity here. The first came from the person who started it, and they may not have had a legit reason. It could have came from past events or just something. So they started it, and then people just followed in droves, and they followed mindlessly without knowing any facts whatsoever. But
Yeah, that's what the scene does, because the scene is very impressionable. A lot of the people in the fighting game community are new. They're new to competitive gaming as a whole, never much less the fighting game community. So what happens is when a person comes into the fighting game community, there's a certain natural equilibrium that goes with everybody that gets involved, and they have to match that natural equilibrium to their surrounding environment so they're not lost. No one likes to be lost. Everyone wants to be accepted into something. So when they come in, first of all, you have to find out who are your champions, who are your populars, and who are the people who are not popular. And then obviously you're gonna side with your champions, and you're gonna side with the popular people because you want to be with the in crowd.
Right.
All the people who are getting cast away or seeing any someone put stream sheeps. Yes, stream sheeps. If someone make an EMP stream sheeps right now, because that's what these guys do. But the stream sheeps pretty much like that's what they have to do, but you can't blame them because they're coming to the community looking for information to be a part of it because they have an interest in it. So the scene has an obligation, let's not say a responsibility, but they have an obligation to inform the newcomers of what's going down so they can properly assess the situation, and they can constructively come up with an opinion that's not just based off of nonsense, which is unfortunately what they feed off of, nonsense. And do you blame them? No, because the nonsense is being perpetuated by the leaders.
Right.
It is not them. The nonsense is being perpetuated by the leaders. People creating like, okay, some of the names that comes out. Some people who attack me on Twitter, they'll come out and say, "Well, Triforce, you did X, Y, and Z with X, Y, and blah 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 blah," to try to attack me, right? And I'll click their name and I go and it says zero followers, zero following. That means this was clearly somebody who does not like me, who's an enemy, created a name to tag me in it, to put it on Twitter so that everyone would see my name tagged up in it. If you type in, if you go into the search engine, you put EMP Triforce, you're going to see anything on the EMP Triforce comes up with my name associated to it. So you have all this negative stuff, and this indoctrinates the scene to go, oh, this guy is the bad guy. Because look at all these people talking negative about them. And where it appears like it's a couple hundred, it's probably 3 or 4 people
Right.
doing it.
Right. But you know what? Again, it comes from the old format of lead by example. If they see the top people in the scene doing these things, they're gonna follow them. And they're gonna follow suit, which is, it's an unfortunate thing, but that's how it
Yeah.
is.
And so someone says on the stream, they would have to be looking you up to begin with. You're correct. They would have to be looking me up to begin with. And it's very easy to make me a topic. Find anything negative or controversial in the fighting game community, and people typing up my name instantaneously because they want to see if I'm involved with it.
Right.
And that's how the search begins. So it sets me up as the witch hunt. So it proved right there when everyone was blaming me for the so-called failure of of VXG, which didn't even fail, that I had nothing to do with it. And the worst part is I don't get an apology. I don't get anything. It's just left alone. Oh, they caught us. Okay, look, we're just going to sweep this under the rug and we'll look for the next thing to blame Triforce for. And then they just redo it again. And it's been a 10-year process. And you would think that you would stop after 10 years.
Yeah, you know what? They expect you to turn your head the other way, but you've been doing that for so long now.
Nah, I can't
And
do that anymore.
right, exactly. So,
And I can't do that anymore because of the international sponsors that I will be working with soon, which is why certain statements was made about me no longer being involved in the FGC. So you know.
right. Well, speaking about that, let's move on to another topic. In the last interview with you, I asked you this already, but let's just clear it up for people that missed it.
Mm.
Since you're no longer directly involved in the FGC, how are you going to be indirectly involved exactly?
Well, when I made the statement, it's funny because last night on the show, Sweet Johnny Cage had asked me. He had asked me, um, why am I still involved with the fighting game community when I said I'm leaving it? And I said, I asked him, when did I ever said I was leaving the fighting game community? And then he tried to recite my statement. He said, you posted on Twitter that you're leaving the fighting game community. I told him, no, I didn't. I'm no longer going to be directly involved with the FGC. And he perceived that in one way versus looking at the comprehension of the statement. And the statement means that I'm not going to be involved with the fighting game community directly no more. That means Triforce stuff like, okay, when you look at VXG, right? Last year they hired me for a job. My job was to go out on Twitter, um, and promote the event, or go to an event where you see me on stage with Rolando handing out the prizes for the qualifiers or whatever stuff like that, where my face would be seen all the time, and I'm going on interviews where I'm talking, promoting VXGA. You know, VXG is a great place to go. You guys need to be there, and like becoming a spokesperson. That is directly being involved. I'm not doing that anymore. I will no longer directly be involved. There are people I'm going to be working with, and I will utilize the resources in Empire Arcadia through the players and through my associates, my partners, and affiliates to get the job done. And I'll play a more behind the curtain scene type guy, uh, because the indoctrination of the scene is very strong, and I could sit here and fight it forever, but I don't think that's going to be productive to the scene.
Yeah, it's not
Nor,
worth it. It's not
yeah,
worth
it's
it.
not worth it. It's not worth it to the scene, and it's definitely not worth it to Empire Arcadia. So, as the founder and the CEO, I have to show a level of maturity and leadership and responsibility, and find another way. So, it bothers me on from a human side. I'm upset because I feel like I've lost. I feel like they bullied me out, but then at the same time, I have to understand that this is not about me. This is about the organization. This is about the scene, and this is about the people I work with. So, I could put that to the side, and I can look to find another way. And I have numerous ways I can work around that and still get things done for the forward benefit of the competitive gaming scene as a whole.
That's
So
good.
that's what it means.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this new method brings you more productivity as well.
I believe it will. Some of the big people involved, the true, like, power boys, the movers and shakers of the scene, uh, they they don't give their opinion on it, but I can tell that, listen, overall they don't want to be caught up in the drama. And I'm surrounded by constant drama because of certain issues and people who don't want to let go things, and people want to perpetuate things that are clearly false. They tell me to let it go, but they don't let it go themselves. They just don't want to get involved, and for them it's like, listen, Triforce, it's nothing personal, but this is not our problem, and we don't want it to be our problem. So you're going to have to find a way to deal with it. And the reality is, it isn't their problem, and it shouldn't be their problem. They got their own business to do. It's my problem. So that's why I was like, it is what it is. This is the nature of the business, and I'll just look towards finding another way. And I'm currently in the stage of doing that, and I found a couple of ways so far, and we're going to see we're going to see a better future for the scene as a whole.
That's good. That's good. I'm really looking forward to that. Now, let's move on to the hot button issue.
Okay.
And that's basically tournament organizers who are releasing part of their balance sheet. And by part, I mean they're excluding the income statement and only showing their expenses. So they don't show their net total. And this is really causing an uproar in the community where people are demanding to see itemized statements. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, to be honest with you, this shouldn't even be a topic. Sweet Johnny Cage came on last night. We were talking about the media in the community, and how event hubs and Sure You can publish. Uh, I don't want to use a negative word, but I have to use a negative word. They publish foolish articles, things that they shouldn't do.
Right.
They sit down, and it's the comments that has been stated. Triforce is a toxic member to the scene. Triforce brings up issues that hurts the scene, and so forth. So let's look at the rap sheet for a second. Let's look at my rap sheet versus the leaders of the FGC. I've been in numerous mainstream articles, even Kotaku, right? We'll use Kotaku, newspapers, mainstream entities such as Guinness, whatever you want to call it. And if you look at my track record, 99%, and I'm just throwing a number out there, but it's a high 90s% because it's very, very rare that you see my name in something controversial unless someone else brought it up because it wasn't me. But 90% of the articles I'm found in mainstream media is all positive, from Polygon to MTV to Time Magazine to Kotaku to Guinness to regular newspaper, radio, TV shows here in St. Martin to America. All mainstream. It's all positive stuff about the scene that Empire Arcade is involved with, whether it may be sports games, shooting games, fighting games, retro games, whatever it is. It's all positive. Now, when you look at the fighting game community now, a lot of the press they get is bad news. And you wonder, why are they allowing such negative news to even get out to begin with? And this is where I kind of blame Event Hubs and SRK. In the art of war, he who controls the media has already won the war.
Right.
So the so-called Illuminati of the FGC, they run the show because the two largest information providers in the scene is Event Hubs and Shoryuken. But when something bad goes on in the community, it hits Kotaku, and you're like, why is it there? And then people go, well, Triforce, you got to understand, it's not necessarily their fault. But I'm like, actually, kind of it is. They know what articles that they post on their website that's going to create controversy. And that controversy is going to bring a huge spotlight on a negative topic. And then once that happens, someone in the scene is going to be immature enough who doesn't have the foresight to see the damage it's going to do to the scene is going to report it to Kotaku. But they justify it because it gets them hits.
Yeah. People love
Traffic
controversy. People love
Exactly.
drama.
So they're sacrificing the community's integrity for hits on their website. So then you're like, what type of leaders do that? It's the same situation I'm in. I have a lot of e-files that could completely destroy the entire FGC. But I have to understand that Triforce, in exonerating yourself, and notice I'm speaking to myself in third person because I think like that in third person. I think back to myself, Triforce, if you want to exonerate yourself in certain topics, to do that, you would be destroying the very community you say you've given your oath or duty to help. That's counterproductive. So there's many times I have to bite the bullet because, if I do that, I'm like, okay, then you're not what you're about. That's you're a contradiction to what you are. Now the FGC is a contradiction to itself. Period. It's a complete contradiction to itself. They talk about progressive movement, but they do nothing towards it as a whole. Nothing.
Why do you think that
So
is?
because well, to be very honest with you, in that regards, I couldn't speak on them. I have my opinion on what it is, but it's like it's so much nonsense now. I don't know what to pick out to determine what is what anymore. I don't even know why these guys do this. I don't know if they're sadistic and they just like hurting themselves. I am so. It's like that. I have a brain fart when it comes to
Here's
stuff like that.
here's what I was saying before about the tournament organizers and their balance sheets. Like, first of all, you shouldn't even bring it up. Don't say how much it costs. If people want to know, that's fine, but there are just some things that people should not have access to. Now, another thing, there's nothing wrong with making money. If you're making, if you spend $10,000 on a tournament and you're getting 40,000 for that weekend, that's fine. Make your money. No one's saying don't. People are still gonna come to your tournament even if you're going to make money. That shouldn't
The,
be
the
an
re-
issue. And if you are for the community and there are people, we spoke about this, if there are people who are saying, put the money back into the pot, that's not necessary.
but the thing that the only reason why these things about what are they making coming up is because when people feel guilty, they automatically throw out defensive statements for absolutely no reasons. Here's a prime example, right? Um, uh, Event Hubs puts out an article with John Choi showing the expense of how much NorCal Regional needed to pay to host the event. Now, it shows you the foolishness in journalism. Why would you put such a one-sided story? Do you really believe the community is so stupid that they're not going to ask the opposite? That they're just going to read one side of a story and not one single person is going to sit there and say, well, okay, if they had to spend that much, then how much did they make to cover it? And then the topic comes up of how much it's made. That article should have never been on Event Hubs. It shouldn't at all. And that is why it ends up coming up. People are getting mad. I'm going to tell you what they're scared of. They're not scared of me talking about tournament organizers making money. I don't care if tournament organizers make money. They should be compensated for the time that the work that they put in.
Right.
Running a tournament isn't easy. Running a major isn't easy. Running a world championship is just as hard. And running an international championship is just as bad. Rolando ran Carnival and got put in the hospital for it. And if not for certain people who are helping him out for VXG, he almost caught another nervous breakdown. These things are not easy. People have to be compensated for this, period. I don't care what the community thinks. Man, this is the world. No one works for free. What do you think this is? You know, I'm like, okay, back in the days when the scene wasn't as developed as it was, and we were doing it all out of love, and we were running it out of our school auditorium because the school and the principal said, hey, okay, you can use this for a community event to bring kids around so they can play video games and stay out of the street. Sure. They gave you the resources. You didn't have to pay for it. People volunteered from the schools. You had your volunteer forces and blah, blah, blah. Now people don't do that no more. Volunteers want to get paid now.
Right.
So what do you tell the volunteers now? All right, man, you should do this for the love. Excuse me? Excuse me? So there's nothing wrong with making money. If the issue here is, the problem here is this. They feel that there's some shame in it. There's no shame in making money. If you're going to make money, do it honestly.
Yeah.
That's all. And if you do it honestly, no one will complain.
Right. No one will question you.
No one will question. If you don't want people to ask how much money you're making, don't divulge how much money you're spending.
Right.
Shut up. Run the tournament.
Right.
Don't talk about, oh my goodness, the amount of stress I had running over the tournament. That's like me coming home and after work and I get online. Oh my goodness, I just went to work. Oh my goodness, this customer came up to me. Man, no one wants to hear that. Who wants to hear that? No one wants to hear about how bad your day at work was. Especially if you're getting paid for it. Do your job. Now, here's the flip side to it. Do my job. I don't have to do this. Then don't.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they don't mention it, if they don't talk about it, it won't be a topic. These stupid websites need to stop pushing perpetuating these topics. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, they're giving people
Period.
one side of the equation and expecting them not to ask for the second side.
Exactly. Like, don't do that, man. Come on. Like, with that whole article with John Choi. John Choi's a OG, yeah, and everything, but like, come on, man. That wasn't even necessary. And to be very honest with you, I don't even think John Choi even submitted that as an article. I think he was having a conversation with somebody else, and they took it and made it an article. That's called perpetuating. Why would you do that? Someone should sit down. Where is their chief editor? Where's SRK's chief editor? Someone that reviews articles that are about to go up, and they can look at the pros and cons of the article going up for the best interest of the fighting game community. So these articles can be screened so this garbage does not go up and create issues.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's like, that's how I look at it. I don't know why they're complaining, but hey, at the end of the day, no one told them to bring it up. And people should not sit here and expect the tournament organizers not to make money. That's very selfish of the community to even consider that. But I had digressed from something that I wanted to bring up. So let me bring up the reason why they're so defensive about these topics. This is the truth. The soul-shattering, heart-pounding, when your heart drops to your stomach, truth. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. I'm just stating the facts. Last night, two people on Fight Game TV spoke about something, a topic in which people really don't want to talk about. And that's when the gamers become aware of their worth and what their contributions to the scene is. Filipino Champ and Fnatic said, well, I don't know so much as Fnatic, but Filipino Champ. Fnatic had a different point of view, so to speak. but they were talking both on the same topic. Tournament organizers are making this much money. Why don't they put back in to balloon the pots to make it beneficial for the scene? Now, see, the problem here is about money. The tournament organizers spend a lot of time and resources, blood, sweat, and tears to make the tournament, and they're happy with the profits that they make to justify the work that they put out. Now they're being told that they need to scrape some of that money off of their profits and give back to the community when the community already has a pot to dig in. So they're like, oh man, like, nah. But then the fighter's going to say, but look how much money you make. And now it becomes a money issue. And that's the topic they
That's not.
don't want.
That's
And,
not.
and, and I don't agree with the players on that to a degree.
Right. Exactly.
And, I,
Right.
and I'll explain the degree.
Here's my take on it. I
Okay.
feel that it's not necessary to put it back into the pot. Now, I can understand if you want to grow the pot, if you want more people to come out, etc., etc. If you want more people, to be satisfied, that's fine. But there should be a limit.
Exactly, and that's why I said to each situation, it determines. And now I'll give you two circumstances in where I see one is for the tournament organizers, one is for the community of players. A tournament like Evolution, 2012. Some of the tournaments paid out in pot prizes based on the amount of entries submitted into the tournament. So they paid you out on that alone. Since they're paying out on that alone, and Capcom comes in and says, we're going to put $25,000 on the pot, then Evo should add the amount of entries on top of the 25,000 so that the players can get the bonus. Now, Sweet Johnny Cage brought up a point. He says, well, Triforce, it's not necessarily like that. What Capcom could have done was simply said, Evo, we will sponsor up to $25,000 for your tournament. So see how many people you can get for your event. And when you get that amount of people for the event, then we will make up the difference
Right.
of the 25 of what you're missing so that it can equal 2500. The problem with that is that that's slightly, it's a bait and switch, it's deception to a small degree, because when people hear Capcom is putting up a 25,000 bonus pot, or they're sponsoring $25,000, people are thinking Capcom is giving 25,000. Now, whatever they put into the entrance fee to enter the tournament is separate because Capcom is putting in 25K. So here's where the let's not use the word deception. Here's where the miscommunication happens. And that is the problem. And the miscommunications happening on different levels. The miscommunication could be happening because they want to try to, it's the 25th anniversary. They have to meet that magic number of 25 for their marketing and promotion, the theme of their marketing and promotion, or whatever the case may be. And they want to try to do it with that least money as possible. Good businesses try to get the task done with the least amount of money spent.
Now,
Nothing wrong with that.
now
That's standard business.
that miscommunication, which is excellent word, I totally agree with. Who is to blame for that? Do you think it's the tournament themselves, or is it the media outlets who portray the
Um,
information?
it, it's a mixture of the publisher, the tournament, and the media outlet. Because, okay, whatever the publisher agrees with the tournament organizer, they need to word that so it is as close to the truth as possible. To be honest with you, it should just be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, period. But, we leave room for business,
Right.
and business always obscures the truth all the time. So you have to make sure that that's done properly. And when that is done, then that information needs to be taken over to the media and meticulously promoted, meaning they have to be very careful what is being said, because the words will be, whoever's words those were will be held responsible. And in that situation, let's just say hypothetically, let's look at it in a bad sense, not saying this happened, hypothetically speaking, Evolution makes Evolution 5,000 people showed up, right? Let's say 70 everybody, all 5,000 people paid $70 at the door. Evolution made $350,000, right?
Okay.
If they made $350,000 just at the door, we're not talking about any stream revenue or any other sponsorship bonuses that they get. We're just talking about the door. And walking between two doors to get into a room, they made $350,000. That money they should keep. But if they're going to keep that money and Capcom says they're going to give them $25,000, then whatever the 1,200 people that joined Marvel, oh no, Street Fighter, that 12,000 should be added to the 2,500 so you can get a grand total of $37,000. And then it should be expanded from top 8 to top 16. That helps the community. SRK as a company gets paid by the door and whatever other stuff that they're making, and it is a good look for both brands, Shoryuken and Capcom.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
I
where,
know esports does that. They pay out top 16 with
now
a
that's yeah, and that's where I think the scene needs to give out more money to the community. Now, where I don't think the scene should give out money to the community is events like all the majors, the regular majors that are the qualifiers that lead up to Evo. They don't make enough money. There isn't, there isn't that many people coming. The largest major outside of Evolution was CEO, 1,800 people. Like I don't even know other tournaments that and then after there was 1,600 with Big E's. I think it was Northeast Championships and then final round. All those guys are pushing 15 plus, right? But the other majors, these guys, they're not doing anything under that or those numbers. They're just hitting 600, 700, 1,000 or whatnot. So anyone that's under 2,000, nah, let that money go to the tournament organizers. They put a lot of time. They bust their butts trying to make those things happen. Leave that money alone. If money is going to be given out, then someone like One Frame Link should give out the money. A sponsor that comes and says, okay, look, the Fall Classic, we're going to put $8,000 on top of X, Y, and Z. And that's what they should get.
right.
And that's just the truth about it. And they shouldn't be asking the tournament organizer for anything. So that's where I definitely defend Johnny Cage and all the tournament organizers, even the ones I don't like. I definitely defend them on that. They should keep their money. Like, no one should be digging into their pockets. But the big boys, the big boys, MLG, World Cyber Games, Evo, all those guys, it is kind of expected that they come up with that. It's more like an obligation. It's not necessarily a responsibility, but it's an obligation to the community that if you, as the streets would say, that if you balling like that, then you gotta people want to see if it's true, if it's you, if that's what you are. So you got to step up to the plate and fulfill that image, so to speak. You can't be that big, but then you running on a major scale. What? Then if you're going to do that, then you need to forfeit. You need to come up off that world title. Give it to somebody else that can hold it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Now within that, let's talk about tournament organizers, and one of their main complaints is ballrooms and booking rooms and the cost of all that. Now, I know that most hotels do have an associate or affiliate program, right, where they give incentives for free conference rooms, ballrooms, and even like some comped hotel rooms, and even sometimes commissions. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think all hotels offer that, or is it just the hotel these tournament organizers are going to don't offer a plan like that?
Well, okay, and this is where it becomes slightly insulting. I'm just gonna say it as is. Listen, it's either two things. Either someone is stupid, 'cause that's what it is. It's either someone is stupid, or let's use a better word. It's either someone's ignorant or they're lying.
Okay.
It's one of the two. There are no other options. It's either you're ignorant to the case or you're lying to the community. When you go into hotels and you tell them you're going to book rooms, I used to book rooms for Goldman Sachs back in the 90s. I know we used to work for them. If you come in and say, listen, we're trying to host a conference here in your hotel, the first thing they ask you, how many people are you looking to bring? Back then, I used to be like 400 to 1,000 people. Okay, so here are the rates that we have that we can do for you. We can discount rooms. We can comp you extra rooms for your vice president or whatever, and then we can give you the conference room for free as long as they meet this quota. Because the hotel's job is to fill rooms.
Right.
The reason why they have a conference room is so people can use the conference room to bring a lot of people to the hotel. They don't have a conference room because they want to have meetings in it. No one's going to build a 2,500-foot conference room because the hotel staff wants to have it. Who does that? Like, no, stop. Number two, every hotel you go to, or most hotels that you go to, the name brand ones, they all have an affiliate or an associates program that they offer to you. They offer it to you. Let's say you're ignorant and you don't know, they're gonna offer it to you. So which makes me believe that some people are lying because if they're offering it to you, even if you say, "Well, I didn't know," but they offered it to you. So now what? What happened? You get comp rooms. I've dealt with people. I've gone to tournament organizers events, and I've gotten free rooms because I'm like, hey, listen, I'm gonna bring this amount of people in Empire Arcade to this tournament. 15 something people to this Empire. Triforce, if you can bring 15 something people to Empire, I get you a free room free. Okay, thanks. Because I'm putting the numbers. It's all about the numbers. Now, some people go, no, Triforce, it doesn't work like that. The reason why I don't argue with them because they're going to argue with me about facts. You can call a hotel. You know, it'd be so funny right now. I wish. Do you have a phone with a speaker?
Yeah, I do.
Let's call a hotel.
You want me to
We're gonna
call a
put.
hotel?
We're gonna just call a random hotel right now. We're gonna put the community on blast right now. Let's just call any random hotel. Come on, let's do it.
All right, you got it. What do you think of the Marriott?
Well, Rolando used the Marriott as an example last
Okay,
night, so that's kind of not fair. Just pick a random hotel. Sheraton.
the Sheraton. All right. I think there's a Sheraton somewhere near me. Let's see, New
Mm.
York. All right, there's one on 7th Avenue.
There's one on Seventh Avenue. We,
Yeah.
we just want to we just want to call them and ask them what are their incentives. Give them a call.
Okay.
Tell them your name. Say you represent let's see what we're gonna do. What we're gonna say. We don't want to have any prank calls. Say you represent a technology firm and you're trying to have a small conference expo about a new invention you have, and you're looking to bring about 1,000 people to the hotel. What are any? Do they have any incentive packages through their associates and affiliates program? And watch them offer you something.
Okay. All right. Let's do this.
And I want the stream to listen to this because this is such nonsense, boy. Let's see.
Thank you for calling the Sheraton New York Times Square Hotel. Martha speaking. How may I assist you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Good afternoon. How can I help you?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring about 1,000 people into your hotel, right? I want to hold a conference or an event. I'm just wondering, do you have any incentive packages?
Let me give you our reservations and it will be able to detail that for you. Hold on, please.
All right, sure.
Thank you. Wired internet on any of our state-of-the-art
Now
computers.
listen. When you get to
And
the
you can also
reservation, tell them you're shopping for hotels,
Okay.
before heading
because then
outside to your
you're letting
holiday
them
resort.
know that. Oh, here we go. You're letting them know they're not the only ones.
Thank you for calling Sheraton Reservations. This is Mark. How can I help you?
Hi, how are you doing, Mark?
Good, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. My name is Harsh Kumar, and I represent a tech firm. And right now, I'm shopping for hotels. I'm trying to bring about 1,000 people to a really big event. So I'm just wondering, you guys have any incentive packages available?
What I can do, sir, is I can transfer you out to the department that handles events, and
Okay.
they would be able to better assist you with that.
Okay, but do you know if there's anything available?
They would basically shop you around the city of like if the Sheraton wasn't available, they can check various hotels that we have in that area.
I see. I see. Okay. But
All
I,
right.
I mean, just in general, like, do you guys have like, if I could bring X amount of people, would you guys give the conference room for free?
I wouldn't be able to answer that without
I see. Okay. All right. That's
You know what
fine.
I mean? I
Transfer
don't
me.
want to give you any false information.
That's fine. Okay.
If you want, I can transfer you to that department. That might be
Take the transfer.
Yeah.
handle
Okay.
those
All right.
budget
Yeah. Yeah.
matters.
Yeah. You can transfer me. That's fine.
All right.
All right.
Now they're gonna send you to corporate because they're gonna find out that they're gonna ask you a bunch of questions. What type of firm do you own? Blah blah blah. Just tell them. Oh crap!
Uh.
It's Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. So that didn't go through. But it
Okay.
sounds like there's something. If they were transferring me X amount of times, it sounds like they are willing to do something.
They're gonna do something. They're not gonna do nothing. What they're gonna do, they want when you get to, because I've already done this before. When you get to headquarters, who takes care of the large packages, because this is not something like reservation that they can handle at the front desk where they're bringing in a small family. This is an event,
Right.
and what happens? The events are different from what they do in terms of like the normal standard hotel and fees and stuff like that. In terms of when they're blocking out rooms for a particular event, they have to set up the time. They have to look at what season it is. They have to see what the costs are and whatnot. And then if they will offer you what they have. And then you go, oh, okay, well, thank you very much. You write down the information, what they're offering you and stuff like that. And then you shop the next hotel. Then you look down the list and you find out what hotels that match your location, that you want, because you want to make sure that the community can travel to that event and has the best available, what's the word for this, incentive package that meets the what you're doing. All of them do this. This is not rocket science.
Right.
This is normal stuff. It is normal. You ask anybody. Rolando does it here. I know other people that do it in America, not in the fighting game community, like in the FPS community. The other guys, those guys ain't got this. They don't have this problem. Only the FGC has this problem, and that's it because the FGC is uneducated. It really is. People are going to take offense to that, but I don't care. The reality, they are uneducated. So it's anybody, if they want to, anybody on the street could call a hotel and do this, and they'll get the same stuff. And you just gonna be like, what? Then the problem now is that people are going to be like, oh, well, if they really do this, now they feel it's gonna hurt the scene, but it's not hurting the scene. It doesn't. Like people go, hey, Triforce. Well, if the tournament organizers are making this amount of money, don't you think that they should give? Actually, no, they shouldn't. That's the pay rate that they make for their job. People gotta find, first of all, understand that. Let's say XYZ tournament makes $40,000, right? XYZ tournament makes $40,000.
Okay.
You think that $40,000 is going to one person?
No.
But the scene does. The scene believes that Big E is going to take all that money for himself,
No.
so to speak.
He has people
Like,
working
no,
under him.
he has people working on it.
Right. Right.
Exactly. He has to pay for things. And by the time all that money is broken up, these guys clear about under $10,000 each. And when you really look at it, for hosting an event like that, under $10,000, that's not so bad. Okay, fine. Man, listen, Bifu Teki got several grand for just streaming Carnival. And he had to split that between him and his administration, which is him and his wife. Now you're going to say, oh, Bifu Teki, well, because you got paid for that stream, you should pay to fight again. Excuse me? Like, get out of here. Like, no. Behave yourself. So, and that's this is what it is. If the fighting game community became informed and they were educated on these things, they would not troll or do as much damage as they're doing now. The reason why the fighting game community gouges itself with a knife all the time is because the leaders leave their scene ignorant on purpose.
I see. And why do you think that is?
Well, you can control people who don't know.
Yeah. And I feel that it's not even the people in the fighting game community who are taking advantage, but sponsors as well are taking advantage the of the lack of intellect.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you do know I'm deciding to move out to the islands because I'm not trying to be on some Malcolm X stuff where someone kicks in my door in America and guns me down. I actually had a dream about that. Like some guys came in, duct taped me, and was like, "So you want to go and talk stuff to the fighting game community? You want to educate?" And they popped a cap in my head and killed me. And I was like, "Yo," and that dream was mad real. I was like, "Yo, I think I'm taking this a little bit too far," but at the same time, like, nah, I think I'm gonna. I think St. Martin's a nice little place to stay.
Yeah, well,
I'm
especially since you're exposing everything right now. Um,
But
yeah.
here's the thing: am I exposing? What am I exposing? What I'm so-called exposing is any information anyone can go out and get. So I'm not really exposing anything.
Yeah, but
Exposing something that's a secret that only only certain people can get a hand on that information, and it's been but that it the secret of it has been compromised, and now everyone knows something that they shouldn't know. This is not something that the scene shouldn't know. This is something the scene should know.
right. Yeah, that's true. And
So
I hope the message spreads. I really do, because the more people know about this, you know, the better it is.
uh, there's a double. Knowledge is a double-edged sword. Because when you have the wrong people who know certain things, they'll use it for evil means. So unfortunately, that's the way. That's the nature of knowledge. It can be used against you. So some of this information is good for the scene, but this information gets into the wrong hands of the wrong people, and then you have what you have, like the Triforce witch hunt, and break up the empire, and sponsors telling video game teams to try to get top players in Empire Arcadia out, to go stuff that they did with Justin Wong, same stuff.
Wow.
Which is I'm sad that they're even trying to do that again, because like, will you behave yourself? Like, cut it out.
That's crazy. All right, so let's talk about one more topic before we close out today. Um, Now, who are the true Illuminati of the fighting game community? Do you think it's
That
like Mr. Wizard and the Cannon Brothers?
actually, okay, so Illuminati. All right, let's break this down. So there are four levels in terms of power in the fighting game community. All right, and this is based on in influence to the population. So you have first. No, we'll start from the bottom. Team owners, managers, captains, and community managers. Those guys, all those guys, they're number four. They have the fourth most powerful influence in the scene, and that fluctuates between popularity of each entity that they represent. So whether it's EG, EMP, AGE, and so forth, right? The third most popular is then the tournament organizers. They're the third most popular, not powerful in terms of influence, information, and how they can manipulate it to influence the scene as a whole. And then the second most powerful is the third party sponsors, the guys that makes clothing, the guys that make joysticks, controllers, headsets, blah blah blah, whatever, whether it be Mad Cats, Broken Tier, AGE, 8-Way Arc, Canva, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. The most powerful entity, the Illuminati, the I guess these would be the 33rd degree Masons, the gods themselves, are the publishers. If the publishers go, okay, you're not using my game, you're done. They run the scene. The only reason why the publishers have not reared their head in a fast and despicable manner is because the scene needs to be able to digest the introduction of the publishers. The publishers can't just come in. That's like, here's an example. Nintendo has not been involved in the fighting game community ever in their life, ever. Evo announced Smash Brothers. Nintendo sends a letter. You can't run the game. It created an uproar on Twitter, and it was the first time they ever got involved.
Right.
to a point where it was on Kotaku, it was on Wired magazine, it was on Polygon, it was on IGN, it was on Destructor, it was everywhere. Just because Nintendo said two letters, N-O, created that much of a wave. Then there's like, oh, okay, we see what this is. And unfortunately, the third seed set them up, and the first seed doesn't like that. So they're like, oh, you want to play street ball? I thought we was playing basketball. Okay. So I was like, all right, no problem. Yes. So Evo froze. Smash Brothers for Evo froze. The world's fighting game world championship froze dead in their tracks because a publisher said no and could not move until it took the entire power of the community to convince the publisher otherwise. And then it moved.
But then don't you
Same.
think it's the community that has a say in it at the end of the day?
Power is always within the people, but the people need to be governed. And that is the nature of humanity, period. So the people have a lot of power, but that power is regulated by the person at the top. But then you have a lot of false claims to who's at the throne. And I am not stupid. I've been knew from jump who's been running the show. And the publishers run the show. If Capcom says tomorrow in a meeting, no, on Monday in Event Hubs, Capcom no longer grants the rights to any tournament organizer in the planet to stream Street Fighter, the fighting game community reverts into the dark ages immediately. Immediately. Instantaneously. Japanese people time, yesterday. And there is absolutely nothing the community can do about it. Nothing that the sponsors can do about it. Nothing the tournament organizers can do about it. Nothing the tournament and nothing the team leaders and nothing they can do. Done.
Yeah.
But with great power, and this is a corny line, comes responsibility. And because these are $1 million organizations, and in Nintendo's case, $1 billion organization, they have a reputation to maintain, so they cannot abuse their power. This is where PR comes in, and they have to watch what they say far more meticulously than any one of us. And Nintendo can never go into a stream chat, whether it's IRC, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, and have any candid conversation ever. That could spell the death of the company. Period. The Microsoft guy, made one comment: "Guys, deal with it." He's done. He now works for Zynga. So you see, that's how powerful they are. Their words can end full careers. Families stop eating because they say the wrong thing. In the fighting game community, and guys like us, give me a break. So, and this is where the ego comes. This is where people go, Triforce has a huge ego. I'm one of the most modest and humble people you will ever know. I'm like, don't get me wrong. I will always have confidence to rep the set EMP 24/7, Second Dynasty. We bodying everybody on a competitive field, but I'm nothing but a microspect in the cosmos of competitive gaming. That's the truth about it. But if we meet you on the battlefield, we're going to destroy you. You see what I'm saying? And I'll keep that real. That's what it is. But the guys that got the real power, the cannons, Mr. Wizard, give me a break. Don't make me laugh. That's a joke. The publishers run everything. They don't got to like it. They don't have to respect it. But they got to accept it. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. So Mike Watson talking about, oh, we know the Illuminati, shut up. No, you and your OG guys, no, none of y'all. Even Walter Day. In fact, if you're going to say OG, the OG with the most power is Walter Day. Walter Day got more power than the FGC. Period. In fact, every documentary about competitive gaming names Walter Day.
Yeah,
they name him.
That's true.
They all name him. Whether it's StarCraft, whether it's Smash Brothers, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's Halo, whether it's Street Fighter, whatever it is, they name him as the father of competitive gaming. So if you want to talk about an OG that's an exception to the rule, it's just him. Nobody else.
Not me, not Wizard, not Seth, not the Cannons, not whoever. No Big E, no Larry, nobody. All sand on the table. You take a fan and you put it next to the sand on the table, gets blown right off the table. Done. Finished. Get out of here. None of the sponsors, no 8-way arc, no Mad Cats, none of them. They all get blown off the table too. Nobody's in the grand scheme of things. Now to the people, they got some influence, but to the industry, their pay grade doesn't allow their opinions to mean anything.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't know it was like that.
Well, that's the reality of it, and I dare any one of them to challenge me on that because I won't be the one answering the challenge. It'll be the publishers. They'll be like, "Excuse me, what? What you said? What? I ain't say nothing. What? You said something? I ain't say nothing, man. Come on. All right, that's what I thought."
Wow. All right. Well, thanks, Try, for giving us that insight. I really do appreciate it.
No
And I
problem. Thanks
hope,
for having me on,
yeah, no
Kumar.
problem. And I really hope the community appreciates it too. Um,
Uh,
Once again, this was Inside the Community with Triforce and Harsh Kumar. So well, you have any last words to say, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to before we sign
um,
out?
at this current moment, we have a clean slate from our sponsors. We're working with the international sponsors now that we're going to be making some words with. Got some great news last night, so I'm really happy. But at this particular moment in time, I would just say thank you to all those who support Empire Acadia. Empire Acadia is a development organization. Our job is to help the further development of the greater gaming community. That has always been our slogan from jump. We're here to inform, we're here to educate, and we're here to develop the scene so that it can move forward. That is our task. We're not here for ourselves. Obviously, while we're here, we're going to do something for ourselves, but we are here for the scene, and the scene needs to be educated. So we want to thank all those who are supporting us, all of our former sponsors, except for the ones that ripped us off. And definitely any of the new sponsors will be coming on, which I guess at a later time when I'm back on Inside the Community, I'll name our new international sponsors.
All right, that sounds good, Try. All right, once again, this was Inside Community signing out.